A new portrait lens for under 300 euros. That almost sounds too good to be true at first. However, I've had several months to properly test the new Rollei 85mm f1.8, and today I'd like to share my experiences with you. But let me say this right away. You really get an astonishing amount of lens for very little money. I also took the Rollei lens with me to a small concert, and I'd like to show you a few impressions from that first.
Oh mein Gott, das crazy. In meiner Stadt, da wird es wieder warm. Laufe durch die Straßen mit einem schönen Mädchen in meinem Arm. Küsse fliegen auf mich, doch ich weich ihn aus. Ich schmeiß die auf, mein Bruder, hab schon alles, was ich brauch.
By the way, I always use the lens in combination with my Sony a7 IV, so a 33 megapixel full-frame camera. I've already used it at a wide variety of events, and honestly, I'm quite surprised by how consistently well this lens performed across all these different situations. But first, let's take a look at the design and build quality. The Rollei 85mm is really robustly built and feels noticeably more premium than you would expect at this price point. It features a manual aperture ring that can be adjusted steplessly, which is probably more interesting for those of you who shoot video. However, if you set the ring to automatic, it clicks slightly into place and you can then control the aperture as usual directly via the camera. That's how I personally use the lens almost all the time. Additionally, there's an AF/MF switch on the side, allowing you to quickly switch between autofocus and manual focus directly on the lens. This can be extremely practical, especially if you just want to fine-tune focus briefly, for example in close-up or macro-like situations. On top of that, there's also a freely assignable custom button where you can set, just like the name suggests, whatever function you want. By the way, the lens isn't only available for Sony E-mount, but also for Nikon Z-mount, both of course fully compatible with full-frame cameras. The only difference is that the Nikon version does not have the aperture ring, meaning you can only control the aperture via the camera. But that probably isn't a decisive factor for most people. Overall, it's a very well thought out and solid design that feels extremely comfortable in the hand. Now let's move on to image quality, and here I have to say that the lens delivers truly impressive sharpness. Even wide open, the image center is already razor sharp, which for a portrait lens is arguably the most important thing. But the edges are also already quite sharp, and stopping down gives you a bit of extra sharpness on top. Unfortunately, there's currently no automatic lens profile correction available for Lightroom and Photoshop. I asked Rollei about this, and they told me they've already submitted the data to Adobe, so it's now just a matter of time until the profiles become available in the respective programs. But even without these corrections, you already get a very clean image. Some chromatic aberrations are occasionally visible, but only very minimally, and they're also very easy to remove manually. The same applies to vignetting. Toward the edges, there's an estimated light fall-off of about 0.7 stops, which is rather subtle and actually quite pleasing in terms of the overall look. If you still want to correct it, that's also very easy to do manually. The autofocus works very reliably and pleasantly fast in combination with the Sony a7 IV. Sure, it's not a sports lens, but you can still capture moving subjects very well with it. For example, I used the lens during the training session of a sword fighting group, and as you saw at the beginning, also at this open-air concert where there was a lot going on between my subject and the camera. Despite these distracting elements, I still had an extremely high hit rate with moving subjects, which really impressed me. Overall, I'm genuinely enthusiastic about the Rollei 85mm f1.8. I honestly didn't expect to get such a solid and reliable lens for under 300 euros. So if you don't yet have a portrait lens and are looking for something in that direction, definitely take a look at this one. Price to performance, image quality, autofocus, the overall package is just right. I can really recommend it wholeheartedly. I hope I was able to give you a good overall overview of the lens. If you still have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. And of course, I'd also really appreciate a like and a subscription. And with that, I hope I see you again in one of my next videos. Until then, take care and servus.